Good evening and welcome. It's Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, one day before I have to pay my rent. And you are watching Last Week Today, for a compilation of the most important stories of the week from both legacy and new media. My name's Chuck Black, and my partner in crime tonight, as always, is Richard Gagnon. Richard, how's it going?
Well, it's New Year's Eve.
What do you mean New Year's Eve?
April 1st is New Year's Day.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You go on. I never thought about that.
That's been forever. It's just that some fools changed the calendar from a 13-month calendar to a 12-month calendar.
Maybe that's the big April Fools. I always thought that tomorrow in the morning you're allowed to make fun of everybody, and they had to take it good-naturedly.
Yeah, well, April Fool's Day is if you're a fool if you believe it's not New Year's.
Tomorrow, yeah, good point. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
How goes everything at your area of the woods?
Well, you can tell that I got the big spotlight in the sky shining on me today.
The sun is out and it's glorious.
Well, it's not really out. It's behind clouds, but they're very thin clouds.
Okay. You have better lighting than me. The sun must be glorious.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. I took a walk today up into the properties to check out how much snow was left and all that. So, yeah, it was really a nice walk. Not much mud and not much snow. So that's good.
Given that we are all looking forward to the end of the snow, maybe we should go on to our first piece, if that's okay.
Let's do that.
I will definitely. Oh, Marlene is here tonight.
Oh, good.
She says hello. 13 months of 28 days each. That would have made it far easier to figure out.
Well, then there would be just one day, and they basically threw that in somewhere. I can't remember how they did that.
I don't know. I don't know my calendar. I have trouble even telling if the month lasts for 30 or 31 days.
Yeah. Well, I can tell that. The knuckle method tells you that.
I was taught that in school a long time ago. I completely forgetting it.
Maybe that's why they converted it from 13 months to 12 months, because they could do this.
Let's go on to our first piece.
Okay.
This has always been a problematic story for me. It's about the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. Now, over the past week, it seems like a lot's been going on there, but you can never tell. Officially, however, over the last week, the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is now in its second month, and it has seen intensified airstrikes and retaliatory actions amidst stalled diplomacy and mounting economic strains. And that's just a sample of some of the news stories I got from just a simple search for Iran on Google and on Bing. Now, U.S. and Israeli forces. That's interesting. Is it not going? That's interesting. All my slides are dead until number 5. I never thought that would be a problem, but it seems to be what happens. Anyway, U.S. and Israeli forces conducted repeated strikes on Iranian missile production facilities, launch bases, and industrial plants, command centers, nuclear-related site, anything still standing up, it seems like. They attacked Tehran, they attacked Isfahan, they attacked Bushehr, and they attacked Yard. Those are all cities in Iran. These operations, at least according to the White House, they have significantly degraded Iran's ballistic missile capabilities and defense industry. And the U.S., the White House is talking large. They're saying 11,000 targets have been hit since the conflict began. Now, Iran has responded in its own way with missile and drone attacks on Israel, Gulf targets, including the Kuwaiti oil fields in Dubai, and a variety of U.S. assets. Rumors indicate that most American military bases in the area are mostly abandoned and being operated remotely. And Iran is also threatening escalation if ground forces are deployed. You know, the ground forces, the 10 or 12,000 soldiers that U.S. President Donald Trump has put on a bunch of landing boats. I think one was called the Tripoli, one was called the Boxer, and they're going to Iran as we speak. Now, Tehran has launched a Janfada. That's what they call a volunteer recruitment drive, and they've warned against U.S. invasion. Diplomatic efforts, now we're back on where the slide should be. Diplomatic efforts via mediators continue, with U.S. President Trump issuing threats against civilian infrastructure, especially desalination plants. That concerns me. Desalination plants are problematic. 85% of the water in that area comes from desalination plants, and starvation will kick in, thirst will kick in, and the area will become mostly uninhabitable for most of the people out there if Trump actually does attack desalination plants. There are contrasting and contradictory complaints about whether regime change has occurred as of now. Trump has mostly killed everybody who could move into government, but the essential structure of the regime, the essential policy direction set up before the war began, is still in place. And there's been a lot of regional fallout going on. There's lots of higher global oil prices, there's Gulf tensions, and everyone expects something to happen over the next week, but nobody is quite sure what's going to happen. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, they're keeping us in the dark here as to what's going to happen.
Do you think the Marines are going to take over Carg Island? That seems to be the best idea about what's going on.
I think that's probably what's going to happen, because that island is going to be a place where everybody can go get oil and stuff like that. And they're inviting the countries to go and get it.
Yeah.
So that way they're going to have to, something is going to happen, but I don't know really I can't really tell what's going to happen right now.
I don't know what's going to happen either. I've heard stories that an F-35 has been shot down.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that concerns me greatly. The Iranian government explains that they caught the stealth fighter via its heat signature. So if you can't see the thing on radar, you can still find it by the heat signature. And sensors that detect heat signatures are cheap as all outdoors.
Yeah.
So that problem with military secrets is that they are the most fleeting of all. And I think now everybody now knows how to shoot down an F-35.
Yep. And it's supposed to be the most modern one they've got in their entire arsenal. And Canada is supposed to be got some on order of those things. So I don't think we should take the order, because if they can be tracked by their heat signature, why bother?
Yeah, I mean, these things are supposed to be stealthy. If you can tell where it is, no matter what, then suddenly it's an F-35 and $3 will get you coffee at Starbucks.
Yep.
So I don't know where this is going. Maybe the better story, maybe the best thing to do is to wait till next week. Or do you have any more comments before we move on?
No, we'll wait till next week and see what happens.
And that makes sense. Also in the news this week, Freedom Forum has talked previously about how the legal landscape for technology is shifting. But courts are also beginning to set precedents, and those precedents are going to be difficult for state and federal and provincial governments to deal with. And here's a list of 5 or 6 ones that seem to have happened within the last month. We start with a Southern District of New York judge who has just ruled that documents. Now that's interesting. It looks like these are messed up too. All right. Southern District Judge has ruled that documents generated by a criminal defendant using consumer AI programming are not protected by attorney-client privilege. They can be subpoenaed through the AI company that the lawyer is working at. There we go. There we go. No, we've lost a lot of them. It looks like a lot of this stuff just didn't load tonight. My apologies. Wow. Anyway, we're going to carry it on. If you're a lawyer, don't use Chat GPT. Do not use Grok. In at least the District of New York, those are no longer protected by attorney-client privilege, and your opposition will learn your entire strategy. It's also worth noting that several U.S. states, most recently Washington, has enacted or proposed laws restricted the 3D printing of firearms, firearm parts, and related digital files, with penalties ranging from fines to felony charges. Now, critics argue that these laws could impact legitimate uses of 3D printing, including prototyping, custom prosthetic, and hobbyist projects that have nothing to do with making guns. Enforcement challenges seem to include the technical difficulties of reliably detecting firearms components from digital files, and the potential for overreach affecting non-firearms applications. I would expect over the next little while that a lot of companies will start demanding that their auto parts or machine parts or construction parts are covered by copyright and cannot be reproduced through a 3D printing machine. And then a lot of the usefulness of 3D printing will begin to go the way of the dodo. We do have a graph for this one. I note that Section 230 protection, the core U.S. legislation allowing social media giants like Meta and like Google to act like phone companies, not liable for what their customers are talking about. This Section 230 protection also took a hit last week. And as outlined in the March 27th, 2026 Reuters Post, U.S. jury verdicts against Meta, Google, tee up fight over liability shield. Jurors in these two cases of a growing wave of lawsuits targeting social media firms have found Meta and Alphabet's Google liable for harms done to children, potentially teeing up an appeals fight that could reshape how U.S. law shields tech companies from lawsuits. Now, last Wednesday, a court found Meta and Google liable for a young woman's depression and suicidal thoughts after she said she became addicted to Instagram and YouTube. She said she did so at a young age. She said she had no control over it. She blamed Google and Meta's intentional design, encouraging people to come back for more and more. And she got paid out a combined $6 million in damages. Now, in a separate New Mexico case, my apologies, jurors on Tuesday ordered Meta to pay $375 million after finding the company misled users about the safety of its products for children. And coincidentally also enabled the sexual exploitation of children on its platforms. Now, I'm going to put all the show notes in tomorrow, and you'll be able to look at this yourself. My apologies for not having all the graphics up. Meanwhile, in Canada, let's see if we have a graphic for that one. In Canada, in Alberta, actually, Clearview AI challenged the Alberta Privacy Commissioner's ruling requiring it to stop using screen scrapes of facial images from public social media sources to train its facial recognition AI tool, and also to delete all data from Albertans. Now, according to the February 18th, 2025 Canadian Press post on the topic, under the title Clearview AI Loses BC Appeal of Finding Over Facial Recognition Privacy Breaches. The court also upheld Alberta's Personal Information Protection Act and regulations as unconstitutional under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So Clearview clearly lost this case, and it broadened the definition of Charter of Rights and Freedoms protection, and broadened the publicly available information exception, which until now had unofficially at least allowed for screen scraping of data public facing on websites without any consent. Now, of course, some argue that all the court cases are just kabuki theater. And there's one person who I deeply respect, investigative journalist Whitney Webb, who kind of thinks that data is important. And she also thinks that tech company Palantir is the new Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see if that works tonight.
To bring it back to a question you asked earlier on about, Israel and blackmail. They don't really need blackmail anymore. And I argue at the end of my book that Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, really makes it so that, that's the new Jeffrey Epstein at the end of the day. If they want to blackmail you or know something about you, they just access what Palantir sucked up about you and your search history, your communications, your finances, tweets you've liked in the past, all sorts of things. You don't really need Epstein in the surveillance era,
Do you think when they said tweets are private, it was just an inducement to get us all to like what we really want to like so they can hold it against us later?
It's possible if they want to hold it against you later. The disturbing thing about Palantir is that it's really about pre-crime. They were the pioneers of predictive policing. They were originally, almost everywhere they've piloted predictive policing have been low-income minority neighborhoods. Where they decide who's going to commit a crime before they commit it. And that's essentially we'll see. Administrative detention, maybe, if we go the Israeli path. But Trump actually, in his first term, posited this program to stop mass shootings before they happen. That would basically involve going over American social media posts and identifying if they had early warning signs of neuropsychiatric illness based on their, tweets or Facebook posts. And if they were determined by the algorithm to show those warning signs, they could be, placed under house arrest or go to sessions with a court-ordered psychologist and all sorts of things.
Well, some of my extended relatives better be careful because they got some wild Facebook posts. I had to leave the app.
So do a lot of Americans. And it's worth pointing out that a lot of social media companies like Facebook have a lot of ties to Peter Thiel at the same time he was setting up Palantir. And that Facebook has a lot of similarities to a failed DARPA project called LifeLog that arguably Facebook was resurrected into, because Palantir is the resurrection of another DARPA program called Total Information Awareness that was so scandalous when it was announced it was defunded by Congress, but then they realized that if they turned it into a private company, no one would complain, and that's how we got Palantir.
So what we got is huge amounts of data in social media companies that started out as military R&D projects. Everybody thinks the data is valuable. Everybody is fighting over who is going to get it. Comments?
Yeah, who's going to get it indeed? All of this data they've been collecting on people and still collecting. In my opinion, go ahead, collect it. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? You're going to try and shut me down with it? No, that won't work.
They might. If you get too big, they might.
True.
The problem with having all this data available is that none of us are saints. All of us have a deep, dark secret. My deep, dark secret is that I failed grade 6 French. But other people have deeper and darker secrets, right?
Yep.
And the government, which wants to keep secrets from us, also wants our secrets. And they could come up to me and they could say, you failed French in grade 6. If you don't want people to know about it, you'll start doing deals for me.
Just don't be a CEO of an airline.
You what?
Just don't be a CEO of an airline.
Maybe. Where do you think this is going to go?
Oh, all this. Yeah, they're going to try and collect everything just to basically make a person's life miserable.
Yeah.
But if I just live life and I ignore what other people may say about me, I just ignore it. I don't really care. So, and of course, if you don't really care, then that means that they don't have anything against. They can't hold anything against you if you don't really care.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to make one more comment before we leave. There is, I believe it's a 1980 odd science fiction novel by a guy named David Brin, who I like. It's titled Earth. And it's all about what happens when there is this huge data dump. The book doesn't quite explain why the data dump happened, but everybody knows everything about everybody else. And it talks about what happens in that environment. And I would recommend it. I think it's a really good book. It's called Earth. Are you Googling for it? Richard? Did you find it? I'm going to go on to. Did you find Earth, or are you looking for something else? Well, he looks quite busy. I don't know if we've lost the audio or what's going on, but I think maybe we're going to try to see about going on to the next piece. Is that okay, Richard?
I just got reconnected here.
Oh, that's what I thought. I couldn't hear you for a moment. That's one of the side effects of doing this show from 2 different locations.
Yeah. I seem to have lost my connection to Starlink for some reason.
Now, your video is still on my screen.
Oh, really?
So I think it's going to come off, but you couldn't hear me.
No, I couldn't see you either.
Oh dear. Well, I can see you and your and your confused face.
Okay.
Was visible all the way through.
All right. Okay, it says I'm connected on that one, but I don't know if I've got. Can I see the actual Starlink connection? No, I can't. I can't tell what Starlink is doing. So,
are you connected now? I think you are connected now.
Obviously, if I'm talking, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go on to our next piece, or do you have any more comments about all this data that people are fighting over?
Nope. But the data. Here's some data for you guys if you really want it. My Starlink went down.
Let's go on to our next piece. I think we have graphics for this one. And this is a Canadian piece that I think people in the freedom movement have been interested in for quite some time. And it's all about former provincial MPP Randy Hillier, who is back in court. Now, as outlined in the March 20th, 2026 Canadian Press Post under the title, Randy Hillier's convoy case back on after stay of charges overturned. The criminal case, that is what the Canadian Press called it, the criminal case against Hillier over his participation in the 2022 Freedom Convoy protests in Ottawa, is back on after the province's top court, the Court of Appeals, overturned a decision, a 2-year-old decision to stay the charges. Now, the charges were initially laid in late 2024. The charges were stayed at that time. I noticed that Canadian Press only has this one photograph of Randy Hillier, but this is actually a November 2024 story. and the charges were stayed after a lower court ruled the case had dragged on for too long past the mandatory time limit set by the Supreme Court of Canada in previous cases. But in an updated procedural decision announced on March 20th of this year, the court changed its mind. The court found that the Court of Appeal for Ontario found that the original justice, Superior Court Justice Carrie McVeigh, should have attributed another 93 days or about 3 months of delay due to exceptional circumstances and deducted them from the tally. Now, according to the Court of Appeals decision from 11 days ago, that put the case back within the designated limits. Now, this is the part that disgusts me. Keep in mind that the delay between the original November 14th, 2024 McVeigh decision and the appeals verdict allowing the prosecution a further 3 months to make its case isn't something that happened the day after the original decision. It happened 17 months ago. Then remember that Hillier's legal team was involved with the appeal. Somebody had to pay the court costs. Somebody had to pay the lawyers. Add the 17 months to the 3 more months of time he gets right now, and Hillier is on the hook for another 20 months of legal fees. I don't think that's justice being done. I believe that's procedural lawfare instituted by a government intent on punishing those who disagree with their edicts. There's no consideration at all in Hillier's case over the illegality of the 2022 imposition of the Emergencies Act, the state of martial law under which most of Hillier's charges were laid, and which has already been ruled unconstitutional by at least 2 other Canadian courts. So if Hillier is convicted, or if Hillier is not convicted, he's going to be in court long after his formal period has passed. And let's be fair, no one expects this court case to move forward anytime soon. The 3 months starts at about the time the court processes are involved. The lawyers are involved now. Hillier is paying for lawyers, or he's doing a lot of the court stuff himself, because I think he used to be a lawyer. Setting a new court case could take months. Hillier's 90 days starts when the court case is set. And Hillier is expected to prepare and cover all the court costs. All right. Now, the Emergencies Act decision is also being appealed to the Supreme Court, and no one expects this particular dog and pony show, which essentially benefits absolutely no one except perhaps the lawyers who get the bill by the hour. No one expects the Emergencies Act appeal to end anytime soon. Now, it's worth noting that the charges against Hillier are minor. Mischief is the biggest charge. And as outlined in the April 4, 2025 Freedom Forum post, Making Mischief, the mischief provisions of Canada's criminal code have a long history of being used almost uniformly against legitimate protesters objecting to partisan government policies. Now, all the other charges Hillier has been charged with are essentially malicious. They are malicious. They are intended to intimidate and exhaust the defendants. They are intended to undermine the fairness of the legal process. They are intended to make him plea bargain for the charge of mischief, which doesn't carry a very big crime. but it makes the court happy because they have a conviction. In the case of other Freedom Convoy defendants like Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, the malicious charges are almost universally dropped during sentencing. But they do play well with low information voters who watch a lot of CBC and are unaware of the strategy. Comments, Richard?
Yeah, no, I can't even believe that all this stuff is still happening to Randy. I didn't realize that. But yeah, they're just doing stupid things. I mean, basically, if you just say no, I do not consent, then there's nothing they can do. None of their words, none of their laws,
at this point, I'm going to disagree with that. Hillier, in particular, would have been arrested, held incommunicado.
Yeah, okay, and he's a lawyer.
Yeah, he's a big fish.
Yeah, of course, and they want to try and get the big fish to succumb to their rules.
Yes.
Because then they can get more small fish.
Yes. If the big fish is caught, if the Henry Hildebrands, if the Max Berniers are caught, charged, convicted, and accept their sentences, then the government feels good.
Yeah, the government feels good.
Yeah.
We did it. Yeah, we're protecting you. Yeah, well, you guys are just it makes me so angry whenever I hear what they're doing to these people. And it's all about the money.
Maybe. I think there's at least a little bit about staying in power. Nobody in government wants to be perceived as malfeasance or criminal or a dictator, even though in some cases they are.
That's what they're being perceived as anyways.
Yeah.
Because they just don't get it. If they're trying to attack people, if they're trying to make it look like they're winning, they're just losing.
Maybe. But I know that not a lot of people are willing to talk in public about what happened to Hillier. And he's mostly fallen off the radar. I had trouble finding content about what was going on about him. Lots of court cases about how the charges have been stayed and not a lot about how the charges are back.
Right. Of course not. Because they want to keep it buried.
Yeah.
So it's only people like us that expose these stories that will help get that out again to the public.
I hope we get to do. I hope we're doing something useful. I hope there's enough people watching who are willing to like and pass along to their friends.
Right. Exactly.
Like, subscribe and share. I think that's what we're supposed to say.
Yeah. Subscribe and share. Well, at least share it anyways.
Yeah, this is important. Tomorrow in the show notes, you'll see the citations for where we bought this from. And I think it's a pretty solid case. The government is malfeasance. The court system is intentionally invoking lawfare because they can't win a legitimate case.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to go on to another malfeasant court case?
Might as well.
Randy Hillier's lawyers aren't the only defense team concerned over their day in court. Adam Skelly also thought he'd have his day in court, although it doesn't look like justice was served, at least in his case. Now, as noted in the March 20th Toronto Star post under the title, Adamson's barbecue owner loses COVID-19 charter challenge, shutting restaurant during lockdown, not a seizure, the judge says. And according to that title, Adam Skelly has failed in his court challenge to convince a Superior Court judge that the provincial and city governments violated his constitutional rights by shutting down his restaurant and bankrupting him during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, according to the Toronto Star's exceptionally short news story. Superior Court Justice Janet Leeper dismissed Skelly's case this week, citing in her decision that the city and province acted appropriately in order to protect the public from serious risk of illness, hospitalization, and death. Now, not everybody believes her. And the March 29th, 2026 Concerned Constituents of Canada, the CC Can, issued a press release under the title Official Statement from CCC and regarding Superior Court decision and forthcoming appeal. And according to that press release, the organization is disappointed, disheartened, and frankly disturbed at the outcome of the application hearing that concluded approximately a month ago, and was the decision came down a couple of days back. CC Can says it is the official sponsor, the fundraiser of the legal challenge, which frankly takes a lot of money. And it claims that the government did everything it could to prevent this challenge from being heard. And then the press release went on to note that the application judge got Adam Skelly's name wrong at the outset of the decision. They got Adam's motion citation wrong back in 2011 when the case first went before the courts. And they did it twice. And they ignored fundamental questions of law and precedents brought up both in written and oral arguments. Most importantly, in the Skelly case, the application judge did not in any way address public interest standing, which was argued both orally and in writing, and backed by an affidavit specifically sworn for that purpose. The judge essentially decided on a procedural matter. The judge decided that since all the policies and processes of the city government, I think it was Toronto, and the federal and the provincial government, the Ontario government, since all the procedures and policies were followed to the letter in locking down the city, well, there's no question of whether or not the rights were restricted. The policies were followed, and that's what the court case came down to. Now, the government case primarily rested on a series of public documents written by one doctor, Dr. Matthew Hodge. He is a Toronto-based physician who wrote on COVID-19 public health measures for Ontario, in Ontario during the pandemic. And also Dr. Eileen Davila, who looks really surly and pompous in that photo, which is why I used it. Anyway, Eileen Davila was the medical officer of health for the city of Toronto from 2017 to 2024. Now, the defense case contains sworn testimony from 6 experts, acknowledged experts, who would table 11 separate reports on the constitutionality and the legality of what was happening. But those 11 reports were not questioned or referenced by the court or the prosecution at any point during the case. And none of the evidence submitted was even refuted or anything. It was mostly ignored. It was entirely waste of time. Near as I can tell, and I looked at the court case, the judge based his findings on something he didn't have to mention, the concept of judicial notice, which is something you and I talked about in the past many times, Richard. And this is the judicial perception that government information generated propaganda is so truthful and well accepted as to be beyond reproach or question. And frankly, if everything the government says is right, I find that to be the stupidest basis known to man for this decision. I think it's well worth noting that both sides are now preparing for the appeal. Another case of court malfeasance. The court has unlimited money to go to court as often as it wants. And people like Skelly and Hillier, well, they're not rich. As a matter of fact, Skelly was bankrupted by the pandemic. Any more comments, Richard?
No, that's all that stuff, judicial notice and all that stuff. They're really trying to destroy the entire concept that the laws are made to protect the people. They're made to protect corporations. That's all they are.
I would say that I would say that if I was the government, I would say the law must protect the stakeholders.
The stakeholders, but not the people.
The stakeholders. That's another name for corporations, but in this case, it could also mean government bureaucrats who want to protect the phony balloon jobs. It could also mean non-government organizations.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know where this goes from, but it's obviously malfeasance. Back when the Connect Law website was still up and operational, the person who wrote that would argue that as long as the processes are followed, everything should be good. But that's not how Canada law operated in this country well into the 1990s, well into the early 2000s. Although it does seem to be the way it's operating now, and it does seem to be the explicitly exact way that these laws operate in fascist and communist countries like China.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know where we go from here.
You just have to keep on saying, no, I do not consent.
Absolutely.
And if more and more people say that, then their whole system falls apart quickly.
Yeah, if everybody says it, or even if half the people say it, or even if a substantially large group of people say it, the government doesn't have enough manpower, it doesn't have enough guns to fight with all of us.
Right. Exactly.
But that's why the government goes after the Hilliers. That's why the government goes after the high profile people. You and I are reasonably safe, but anybody who has a higher profile, government's going to take you away and lock you up without charges being laid.
Right. And then when you basically, if you keep on saying no while they're doing all of that, when you get out, when they finally let you out because they're going to realize that we can't do anything, then you can go after them for tons and tons and tons of money.
Maybe
they're taking on that liability.
I've never gone into a casino and effectively argued that they should give me my money back.
The casinos are a business. The courts are not supposed to be a business.
I know, but I'm making the point that the government is a casino. If you play their game, you accept by definition that they will win. That's
why you got to say no and don't play their game.
Yeah, as long as you stay out of the game.
That's right.
I want to do something fun right now. I want to talk a little bit about a video that came out a month or so back, and it's another one of those useful reminders that we need to talk more about Jeffrey Epstein, even with the Iraq war, the Iranian war, sucking the air out of the room and acting as a distraction. And I think, come to think of it, quite a bit of what's going on there and what's going on here and what's going on everywhere seems to be related to what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Want to see a few minutes of a fun musical?
Sure.
I'm curious about a kid from Brooklyn named Jeffrey Epstein. Skipped 2 grades, graduated at 16. Got into an elite math program at NYU. Dropped out and then at 21 was hired to teach physics at the most exclusive private school in Manhattan without a degree. The headmaster was Donald Barr, OSS veteran, precursor to the CIA, who wrote a novel about elites keeping humans as sex slaves, and who just happens to be the father of William Barr, the attorney general who would oversee the Epstein told people that relationship got him his Wall Street job. Fired from teaching for poor performance, hired on Wall Street the next day. At Bear Stearns, he rose from junior floor assistant to advising the bank's wealthiest clients, including Edgar Bronfman, president of Seagrams, who would later co-found something called the Mega Group, along with Leslie Wedner and Ronald Lauder, a secret network of billionaire donors coordinating pro-Israel strategy. He joined the Rockefeller University board, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations. David Rockefeller personally mentored him, a college dropout from Coney Island, at the table with the man who built the globalist infrastructure. It seems that many were fascinated or impressed by Epstein and his connections, which helped him become even more connected. A defense contractor named Douglas Lee's and Nixon's former Attorney General John Mitchell introduced him to Stephen Hoffenberg, who says Lee's recruited Epstein for British intelligence, and Hoffenberg introduced him to Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell, media mogul who sold stolen surveillance software called Promise for the CIA and Mossad, documented intelligence asset whose daughter would move to New York and partner with Epstein. The same year he mysteriously fell off his yacht, 6 heads of Israeli intelligence at his funeral, totally normal for a book publisher. During this same period, Epstein had an Austrian passport with his photo, but a false name and a Saudi address. That's not something you pick up at the post office, that's intelligence tradecraft. One of his clients was Adnan Khashoggi, the middleman, transferring American weapons from Israel to Iran. Iran-Contra, same scandal involving the CIA, same CIA whose precursor employed Donald Barr, same era Bush was running the agency, then the country. And a CIA front airline called Southern Air Transport would later relocate its headquarters to service the brands of Les Werfner, the man who would give Epstein everything. But that's part 2. I'm just curious how a math teacher from Brooklyn ended up with a fake passport, a Rockefeller mentor, a seat at the Trilateral Commission, an intelligence recruitment chain that runs through defense contractors, and a former attorney general, and a direct connection to the man who sold spy software for the CIA and Mossad. And I'm curious why, when they finally arrested him, there were 10,000 videos seized and sealed, 6 million pages were they released, maybe half, 10 co-conspirators identified, and only one charge. The CIA director who visited his townhouse now controls all the intelligence, and the president who promised to release everything is attacking the congressman who wrote the Transparency Act. I'm just curious if those files stay sealed, not to protect one man's secrets, but to protect the system that created him.
Good.
I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I'm not a theorist at all.
I spent 10 hours validating those things. Those things all are really in the Epstein files.
Yeah. So somebody was able to do that research and create a song.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that's, and you notice how much of what was in that song relates to Israeli intelligence, and how much of it has connections to Iran and all sorts of other things.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Epstein was not a good guy.
Yeah.
He was not a good guy.
Absolutely. I think we're going to go on to our next piece. It's about a guy who thinks he's a good guy.
Okay.
Last week at Winnipeg Convention Center, the federal New Democratic Party anointed filmmaker and client activist Abby Lewis to be its new leader. Now, Lewis is the grandson of former NDP leader David Lewis, and he is also the son of former Ontario NDP leader Stephen Lewis, who I have to offer up condolences to. He died earlier today. And Stephen Lewis died today. Just came out starting about 5 o'clock. Now, Abby won on the first ballot with 50% of the vote, 56% of the vote. I'm sorry, I confused easily. Now, Lewis inherits a party without official party status. It's reeling from the worst federal election result in decades. And Lewis immediately vowed to fix everything by offering up what he called a bold, progressive alternative focused on economic justice, whatever the fuck that means, and climate action. And we all know what that means. We have to eat the bugs. Now, the Liberal Party will likely try to co-opt all the good NDP policies, just like it did when Jagmeet Singh ran things. Comments, Richard?
Yeah, NDP chooses the wackos, wackadoos, and all that stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. The NDP, I think, is a dead party.
That is
They're
sort of
too
a shame.
They're too much of a communist socialist type party. People do not like.
I got to say, I spent some time as a shop steward for the United Food and Commercial Workers, which contributes huge amounts of cash to the NDP, and they talk all the time about climate change. They talk all the time about welcoming illegal immigrants into the country. They talk all the time about protecting post office jobs. They talk about everything except workers' rights and getting better wages for the people I was working with.
Right. Yeah. The unions are not really for the people. They're just, to me, they're just always looking for more money, more benefit, but not willing to produce more.
The amount of money major unions collect each year in dues is dwarfed by the amount of money they have under management in their pension funds. Unions' primary jobs are managing their pension funds.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
What?
I've never acknowledged unions as being useful. I was part of one for a while when I worked at the city of Calgary, but I didn't do anything with them. And then when I quit the city of Calgary, I said, "Well, that's it for unions for me," because they were a waste of time.
I helped unionize a place in the 90s, back when unions were activists. It was a call center that I noted had 400% turnover in staff every year. And that's 4 employees cycling through a job in a year.
Right.
And I thought I did something good then, but the unions certainly don't want that to happen now.
No. For some reason, they've been re-indoctrinated into a whole new system.
Yeah.
I
don't know what they're doing. I like Jack Layton 15 years ago now. I thought he was a good leader, but he was the last leader of the NDP who I had any real respect for.
Well, I never had any respect for any. What?
I'm from Manitoba. We had an NDP government before everybody else.
Yeah. I've always been.
They were considered the legitimate.
I've always considered myself as a conservative. I've always considered myself as a conservative, but nowadays, no, conservatives are not that great at all.
They're too wimpy.
They're breaking up.
I agree. That oh, my apologies. If nothing else, Richard, I can hear me.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. It's
we're
not
gonna
my
wait
end.
for a second to see if it comes back.
Yeah, it's not my end. It's not my end that's causing the breakup.
I wonder. Our technology is falling apart. Too much of that government subsidized ISD connections are going into the pockets of the managers and not into the cables needed to connect.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got one more piece I'd like to do today. This is a good news story.
All right.
So Shall we go into it?
Yes.
You go. This is about the Aspire Food Group. It's their London, Ontario facility. It's a 150,000 square foot fully automated facility designed to house billions of insects and produce millions of kilograms of protein each year. And thank the Lord it's out of business. Now, the faculty came online in 2022 after receiving huge amounts of money from governments and private sector investors. Nothing worked. It entered receivership last year. It finally shut down a week or so ago, and it remains unclear how much public money will ever be recovered from this gigantic failure. Now, the final sale price is secret, and it's sealed by a court order, which suggests that at least a few of the investors made out pretty well from this deal, but the business itself is bankrupt. Nobody wants to buy bugs. Commentators blamed something called the yuck factor, not for the guy on the right, but for the fact that despite all the funding and all the legacy media PR, no one ever really wanted to eat the bugs. And on that note, I wouldn't mind doing another quick video on eating the bugs. Here we go.
Eat the bugs, it's the new thing. We can make them into anything. Fancy a burger or a cheese bake. Wash it down with some lovely milkshake. Eat the bugs, Mrs. Vaccine. Your spicy crickets are full of protein. Eat the bugs, now don't you squirm. Suck up the spiders and mealworms. You're a bad boy.
I don't know, Richard. I think it has a good beat. You can dance to it.
Yeah, that's about it.
What do you think of the story?
Eat the bugs. Yes, that's been around for a while now. No thanks. Living out in the bush, if I had to, I would.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, don't really need to. And besides, growing season's coming, it would be more veggies. So
Yeah. That's fair.
I guess eating the bugs will help keep the veggies growing.
Yeah, maybe. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
No comments. Have we gone past eating the bugs, or is it just is this a callback to an earlier age, or do you still think the leaders are trying to keep us on subsistence?
They're gonna keep trying to push it, but I think I'll go fire up the barbecue and have a hamburger.
I think I got a steak in the freezer somewhere. Maybe I'll finish that up.
Okay.
One more piece tonight. It's yours, I believe.
Yes, it is. The firmament question of the day. This is, everybody talks about the flat earth and saying that the firmament is the end of the world, and all that stuff. And I'm sitting there, but nobody has proven that. Nobody has proven that. So anyways, I thought this was a good story.
Here we go. The March 28th Mongol Minds on BitChute post. Firmament questions of the day. Here we go.
Do you think the moon goes into the firmament? Well, with the firmament map, they show the moon and the sun's below the firmament, and it's kind of like moving around in there. So, the question is like, how close are these things, right? There are videos of airplanes where people are on an airplane zooming out and seeing the sun and the moon really close. And they're just on an airplane. And I've actually started to think these airplanes aren't at 35,000 feet. Because I can zoom in with them on a Nikon 1000 and pretty much get them crystal clear. So I'm starting to think that 35,000 feet, when they're like, oh, I just hit 35,000 feet on the altitude, I don't even believe that's real anymore. I actually don't even think they're that high up. And when you see these people up in planes and they're zooming into the moon and the sun and it looks real close, this doesn't make any sense. Somebody's lying to us. And that's why I like to just question things. Even if I am incorrect, right? Because someone will go, oh my gosh, you're saying this. Yeah, it's good to question everything, and we should. I think that's the most important thing that our mind should be doing, is questioning everything. It's such a waste of time to just accept what we were told and what we were sold,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think he's right.
Yep. By the way, we're off to the moon again, I think tomorrow.
What do you mean?
Artemis 2 is on its way. It's going to be taken off, I think, tomorrow.
Oh God, I used to cover all that stuff weekly. I used to be like way up on that. Artemis 2 is that incredible NASA boondoggle that costs $5 billion a shot for 3 astronauts, isn't it?
No, it's Elon Musk, and it's got 4 astronauts in this one.
Oh, Elon Musk, one of his ships?
Yep. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, he built this guy because it's designed so that it'll go to Mars.
Oh wow, that's the Starliner, isn't it?
Well, they call it the Artemis, so I don't really know. Artemis is actually from a Star Trek episode, by the way.
Yeah. Artemis 2, a historic NASA moon mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's set to go. It looks like tomorrow.
Yep. New Year's Day.
I'm just overwhelmed by all the stuff we put on tonight.
Yep.
It's hard to make it all fit.
I know. So anyways, yeah, the firmament, I don't buy into it at all because nobody has proven it, that it exists. Although they say, oh, well, just look at it. It's there. And I'm sitting there, no, there's no science to prove it's there. Where is it? Where's your science? There is zero. They say, but it's plasma. And I says, okay, let's go to that plasma. Let's walk to it. Let's go and actually touch it. And of course they say, you don't want to touch plasma. Well, yes, I do. I want to make sure that is actually something physical that we can see and do and manhandle. So
I accept as a given that there are more things on heaven and earth than are dreamt of in our philosophy. I forgot the name of the guy, but that's bad quoting of Shakespeare, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not convinced.
No. And they keep on going back to all these different scenarios. I'm sitting there, no. That you're just interpreting that. You have no proof of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going into an age where sometimes the simplest actions will require independent validation. We trust no one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So,
are we losing the connection again?
What? No.
Are we losing the connection again?
I don't think so. Looks good.
Okay. Maybe I'm just whispering too much. You wanna wind up, or do we keep going?
No, I think we should wind up. I've got to get my burger on the barbecue.
You are not going to eat the bugs. Anyway, what's on your plate for the next week?
Well, tomorrow I'm taking the day off. I'm traveling to get some groceries and a few things like that. And then I'll come back and I'll finish editing the Friday show. I got 8 stories ready to be edited. And then I got Thursday's show, a 1-hour show ready to go. Which I guess if I was smart, I would probably had that to tell you what it's all about. Let's just see if I can quickly bring it up. Tomorrow is April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, wake up.
It looks like you're freezing for a minute.
I'm just trying to connect to the NAS drive here.
Okay.
It's being very, very slow. Come on. We don't need to wait this long. Come on.
I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah, I'm just not so patient anymore. Jeez, come on, you stupid thing. There's nothing else working on the machines. It's just the one thing it's trying to do. I think the technology is starting to get messed up.
I think it's failing us, at
It
least
is.
tonight.
Miserably.
It's okay. We've got viewers. We've got live viewers on YouTube tonight. Hello, all you live viewers on YouTube tonight. We've never
All
had
right.
any of that before, and just I'm impressed.
Oh, by the way, in the comments, I posted the links to the 2 shows I do, or the shows I do, and they're on Facebook, We Are Not TV, and on Twitch, Mongo Mind Productions /schedule, and that'll show you all the different days that my shows are going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're looking to follow me or to watch them, that's where you'll find them. And the time will be, let's see, tomorrow morning will be at 7:30. Or Thursday will be at 7:30, 7:30, and Friday will be at 7:30 Pacific time. And then next Sunday will be at 2:30 Pacific time. So yeah, you'll be able to catch me on those particular ones. The live stream will be on the Twitch channel, but the Facebook will be a place where you can still comment.
That is good. We need more commentators than we've gotten lately. Ever since the Facebook page stopped you from live streaming.
Yeah. Well, that's Facebook for you. They just want to try and shut me down, but I'm finding ways around their shutdown processes.
Fair comment. As for Freedom Forum, let me see where we are. We're going to do this really quickly before we lose all connections to life. As for Freedom Forum, and last week today, we normally record every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Now on a variety of internet platforms, including the one you're watching. We were published next day with notes on our Substack page at chuckblack.substack.com. Most of our stuff slides behind a paywall after a month online. So if you'd like to maintain access, the easiest thing to do, and the easiest thing to help us afford beef, is to sign up for a monthly subscription. $20 a month, $160 per year. This entitles you to access archive posts, anything over a month old, and it includes lots of in-depth stories not covered in our regular pieces. And we also provide a Substack app to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone, and subscriber chat so you can tell us what you really, really want. My name's Chuck Black. I directed this show using StreamYards. Evidently, I directed it badly using StreamYards. But we still recommend the program, but only if you sign up using either Richard's or my link, because we get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray at least some of our costs. As for the show, it'll be up on Substack tomorrow. Chuck Black at substack.com, and we'll be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. with another episode of Last Week Today, and we'll be back next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Roasting the Press, and hopefully our technical glitches will be resolved by then. Anyway, Richard, did I miss anything?
Nope. I'm hoping that everything will speed up again the next day or so on my system.
It might just be tourist season. The tourists are going to start coming in soon, or maybe it's just snow season. Anyway, good night, Richard. I'll see you in a couple of days.
You betcha. Have a great time.
You too.